What we're witnessing at the moment is a very, very public contract negotiation for Declan Rice. Let me just quantify that very quickly by saying I think there's one party more than the other who cares whether they sign the contract or not. I almost don't think Declan Rice cares that much whether he signs the contract because he's in a relatively secure situation anyway. Declan knows he's going to leave at some point. I'm not convinced he's desperate to do it right now, right this second. The other side, I mean, it's more advantageous for them to get him to sign a contract. Don't get me wrong, I think were Declan to get what he wants, and I think it's probably about 150 grand a week, I think he'd sign the contract. And the latest news today indicates that he probably would just do that, although a figure's not been put on it. Why would you not? If he's going to be around for another 18 months, why would you not want that 18 months to be on 150 grand a week rather than the 40 grand a week or whatever he's on? I don't know what he's on. That's the truth of the matter. But it's become very public. So today we hear that the club don't want to sell Declan Rice at any price at all. Now, clearly, you've got to take that with a pinch of salt, because were Chelsea to come in with 130 million, Declan Rice would be sold. So actually, he does have a price. Would we sell him for a fiver? No. Would we sell him for 130 million? Yes. The price is somewhere in between, probably closer to the 130 than the fiver, of course. He has a price, but the club are very much putting it out there. So this is a game. It's a game of chess, a very public game of chess. Declan Rice is not for sale. That's what they're saying. Now, what comes back from Declan Rice's camp, and this is what I find concerning more than anything. Not what's said, but the fact that something is being said, is that if West Ham want Declan Rice to stay, they need to come back with a contract offer that makes him the highest paid player at the club. Okay, so the good part of that is we're in a negotiation. He's not just saying he's leaving. He's saying, give me what I want and I'll sign the contract. Now, give me what I want and I'll sign the contract is not the same as him saying I'll stay. Let's just get that thing straight. It's more saying, basically, give me the money that I think that I need and give me the money that I deserve. Now, that's fine. I would only hope that information's been leaked, just in the same way as the West Ham information's been leaked. It's a lot harder to guess where the information's come from with Declan. Where's the West Ham information come from? Well, either David Gold or David Sullivan. It's not come from anywhere else, is it? With Declan Rice, I would really hope, with a really important game coming up, that he's not getting involved in any of this. So maybe the leaks are coming from his representatives, his family. Maybe they are in negotiations with the club at the moment. Maybe there's no negotiation at all. Maybe this is basically shouting over the fence at one another, but doing it publicly. This is sort of like lining up the tanks before battle in many respects, because it is a big contract. It's a massive contract for Declan. Possibly the second biggest contract he'll ever have to negotiate. I only say that because once he gets the big contract for the next club, that'll probably be the first one. Anyone after that is going to be easier. This is the big one, which is really, can I get decent money at West Ham? Can I get paid a sufficient amount for the remainder of the time that I'm at West Ham? Because let's say he is around, he could be around for 5 minutes, but let's say he's around for another 18 months or something like that. That's quite a large chunk of his career. You'd rather be getting 150 grand a week than 30 grand a week or whatever the case may be. I just hope that Declan is not involved in this negotiation at all. I even hope that whoever his representative is not on the phone to him every day saying, I've had more contact with the club, or we've said this, or we've said this. I saw some footage of him playing whatever it was, water volleyball yesterday, and there was some other games and some darts. That was it. He seemed in good spirits. The whole England squad seemed in very, very good spirits. They seemed isolated from the outside world, and I hope that would continue, because the biggest game of Declan Rice's life is coming up tomorrow. So that's really important. And at this moment in time, it's more important than his contract at West Ham. And I've got to say, at this precise moment in time, it's more important to me is the game tomorrow than the contract at West Ham, which can be dealt with next week or the week after. But I was buoyed by the fact that he was saying, come back and give me an offer. Okay, so if this is a game of chess, it's a public negotiation, that's very much, it's West Ham's move. It's not quite checkmate, but he's moved the He's moved the rook into a very, very good position in the game of chess. It's now West Ham's move. Do we make a defensive move or do we make an attacking move? And I think there's not a lot we can do after that. Well, there is. We can turn around and say, well, our offer's on the table, that's it. I don't think we should. I actually think, I don't normally say things like this, I think we should play Declan Rice whatever he wants, really. Now, there was an interesting quote, or that's not really a quote because no one's quoting anybody, but there was an interesting bit of information that came with the Declan Rice, the leak from the Declan Rice camp, which was the offer he's had from West Ham is some way short of top earner Andrei Yarmolenko, who's on 115 grand a week. Okay, let's just get into that a little bit. As I understand it, Andrei Yarmolenko is not on 150 grand a week. I'm not just saying that now. I've been consistent in that. I think he was on about 75 grand a week. Look, a lot of money for an injury-prone player. Don't get me wrong, and it's not a transfer that's worked out particularly well for us. It's a transfer that will end up costing us an awful lot of money, the Yarmolenko one. That being said, he's not that. I'm not even sure that he is the top earner at the club. And I say that I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he is. I'm pretty 100% positive that when Felipe Anderson comes back, which he is already back now, isn't he? He's the top earner at the club. And where Yarmolenko sits in the pyramid, I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The 115 grand a week is not true. Also, what we don't know is we don't know what Declan's been offered. So we get told that he's been offered more than Yarmolenko. I don't know why that's pertinent. I really don't. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter what Yarmolenko earns. It doesn't matter at all. All that matters is what Declan Rice values himself at. And that is, I don't know. We don't know. We're all guessing. We're all playing a guessing game here. But the fact that he's open to it, I think we have to call his bluff. So let's say, for the sake of this video, it's 150 grand a week. I don't think Declan would demand 200 grand a week because I know he would know that that's unrealistic to West Ham, and he just doesn't seem that kind of guy. I think he'll be pitching it probably at what West Ham can realistically afford and what he thinks he's worth. I think that's a lot of money. I mean, let's be fair, that is a lot of money. There are other people in and around that England squad who are not on that money. Yes, is Harry Maguire on that money? Probably, but he won't be on an awful lot more than that if he is. Harry Kane, yes, certainly. But Grealish won't be on anything like that. Tyrone Mings won't be anything like that. I doubt very much if Ben Chilwell's on anything like that. Luke Shaw, no. That would put him up there, put it that way. That would put him in the top, I'm guessing here, right? But if you start looking at the players individually and Reece James and so on and so forth, I think 150 grand a week puts him in the top 10 English paid players in that England squad, basically. English players in the England squad. Yeah, there's no Dutch players in the England squad, just so as you know. There is an Irishman. No, my joke. A joke. So I think that's realistic. Also, you've got to remember, we played Chicharito. I think it was something like 135 grand a week. Now, if we can do that, surely we can pay Declan Rice the money. And it does call his bluff. Because if we've made an offer and he said no, and then he's made it, so we clearly value him at whatever. Let's say we did offer him 115 grand a week, and he's saying I want 150. Well, that's a negotiation. And negotiation is good. It's good for us. It's good for us as West Ham fans, because it means we stand a chance. So we're not going to keep the player forever. I also think it's probably quite shrewd of Declan Rice to sign a contract at West Ham. I don't think it's going to matter. I think if Declan Rice doesn't sign a contract and someone comes in with 130 million, we accept it. I think if Declan Rice does sign a contract and someone comes in with 130 million, we accept it. The fact that he has a longer contract really doesn't, as far as Declan's concerned, lessen his opportunity to leave the club. Okay, when someone bids enough, he'll leave. My real suspicion is that nobody actually has got the money to buy him at the moment. Which is why you see some people trying to drive the price down, saying, oh, he's only worth 60 million. Well, actually, it's not any other club's business to tell us how much Declan Rice is worth. just as it's not anybody else's business to come to me and tell me what something's worth that I might be trying to sell on eBay. That's my business. You know, I set the price. That's my price. You either buy it or you don't. If you don't, you go and source a similar item elsewhere. So I think if it is around 100 million, I suspect we'd accept 90. It's a whopping great amount of money. I suspect if it was that, then we're in a funny position. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it's 90 million or 100 million. The only thing you ever ask yourself when you get this money is how many players can I get for that? So if players are now just costing 50 million and every player doesn't cost 50 million, and you think Declan Rice, I can get 2 players, well, are those 2 players, do they amount? Is their net benefit to the team better than one Declan Rice? So are 2 of these players better than one Declan Rice? And that's where it was. And I think regardless of what the price is, what you want to do is, if you sell Declan Rice, you want to be able to get 3 really good first team players. And that's really important. Anyway, my point is, and here's why I'm a little bit more confident that we will retain him. Manchester United are interested. Okay, well let's play this forward a little bit. Manchester United are going to spend 75 million on Jadon Sancho. It's believed that they're in negotiation with Varane. That's a serious bid. They're not going to get him cheap. They might be interested in Harry Kane. Man United don't have the money to make all these transfers stick. So that's why, look, would Man United push the boat out if they could get Declan Rice for 40 million plus Jesse Lingard? Yes, I'm sure they would, but West Ham won't accept that. That is not an acceptable offer. No, I'll say that on behalf of West Ham. So I think their spending's not going to allow that. That puts that out the window. Man City. Jack Grealish for 100 million. Okay, great. Interesting signing, but would be really a good signing for them, actually. But then also you hear they want Harry Kane. Harry Kane's... Daniel Levy's going to be all over this. Daniel Levy's going to be saying, well, hold on, if Jack Grealish is 100 million, then Harry Kane's definitely worth 130, 140. Well, if Man City are going to spend a couple of 100 million, they don't have the money to then go and buy Declan Rice. Well, okay, sorry, let me quantify that. They do have the money. They've got the money to buy everybody. What, they're probably just not going to be allowed to do it because they're on their final warning. And I guess it doesn't matter if the rules are... I don't know if the rules have been lessened to deal with COVID, but I'll be very surprised if UEFA Premier League or anyone else's financial fair play rules have been lessened to the extent that Man City are going to be able to spend 300 million above what they bring in. So I think City possibly, if those transfers are true, City are out of the equation. Then it brings Chelsea. Now Chelsea, I don't know. What I would say is Chelsea's desire to buy Declan Rice, who they let go for free for a lot of money, is not going to be great. They have a guy that plays his position. And I'd just refer you back to the Champions League and how well Kante played. I mean, he looked like the world's best player in that position. That's going to be really, really interesting. Do they need him? Or they might do one day. I mean, do they need him and do they want him are 2 very, very different things. And when you're looking to spend 100 million, need and want is very important a thing to differentiate between. Because one, yeah, okay, not nice. But one, I won't quite do the 100 million because I've actually already got one. Need, yeah, fair enough. You might push the boat out if you don't have any in that position. What Chelsea do need is a striker. And I don't know who, but they need a Lewandowski. I know they're not going to get him, but you know what I mean. They need an Mbappe. They need an Erling Haaland. They need somebody like that. They really do. And I feel that I feel that when they start doing that again, they spent big last summer. They're already good enough to be in the top 4. They're already good enough to win the Champions League. Again, are Chelsea about to embark on another spending spree of 200 odd million? I can't see it. My point is, I think a lot of these clubs are going to be a lot better set to buy Declan Rice next season. I really do, because I just don't think they can afford him this season. Which brings us to the question: then Declan Rice. Bearing in mind, if Declan Rice is going to stick around for another year, what's Declan Rice going to do? Is he going to stick around on that other year to play one more year for West Ham on 40 grand a week, or is he going to make a deal with West Ham and actually play that remainder of the year on 135 grand a week.